Okay, yeah, sure. Again, my name is Stephen Stairs. I'm President and CEO of Benton Resources, listed on the TSX Venture under the symbol BEX. We've been around since around 2007. We've had a few dividends paid to our shareholders over time, and through project generation and so forth. The Great Burnt Lake project is our flagship property right now. We believe this could host a world-class discovery, and eventually we're hoping to build this into some substantial resources of gold and copper. And the goal of every junior is to have M&A action once you get to that point. So that's where we currently are with the Great Burnt project. I will share my screen. Share, open. Does everybody see the presentation?
Yep, we got it.
All right, so the Great Burnt Project, located in central Newfoundland, which is ranked, Newfoundland is ranked number 4 or number 5 right now by Fraser Institute of Mining for the best place for mining and exploration in the world. And we're very proud of that. I'm a resident, I'm a native of Newfoundland. I reside in Ontario, Canada right now, but I spend about 50% of my time back on the island of Newfoundland. Of course, this is forward-looking statement. Of course, we're not saying you have to buy the stock, and obviously you seek professional representation according to the rules and regulations of the TSX Venture. So the project itself, it has tremendous potential. We own 25 kilometers of a really underexplored mineral belt. This project was discovered back in the late 60s by a company called Asarco Mining, which was a bigger American company back in those days. We have high-grade copper zones. I'll show some results in the coming slides. We have a very experienced mineral exploration team with over 150 years combined experience between us all. We're well funded with about 3.8 million in cash and equities in the bank. The infrastructure is fantastic. We have all-weather roads that's maintained by the government, which maintains the Great Burnt Hydro Dam, which is only 2.5 kilometers from the main copper deposit. So we have readily available hydropower, so green energy power and road accessibility. And since we acquired the project in 2023, we've done a tremendous amount of work. I think we're over 20,000 meters of drilling to date, and we continue to drill. We just finished another 3,800 meters, I believe, and we're now waiting for geophysical crew to show up to pulse some of our holes for further targeting on the high-grade massive sulfide. Right now, we've extended the Great Burnt copper deposit. It says here 850 meters, but we're waiting for results. We've recently announced that we've moved that to 950 meters down plunge from the previous 600-meter strike length that it had when we acquired it. And up at South Pond, we have a 3-kilometer-long gold-copper zone that's coming together with many wide intercepts of 1 to 1.5 type grams gold. So I'll be speaking about that as well. Newfoundland is no stranger to large deposits. Historically, there was the Buckens deposit, which was 16 million tons of over 30% base metals combined, including the gold and silver. And then, of course, you have the Ming mine, which is now owned by Firefly Minerals out of Australia. They've built that resource now to around 60 million tons at 2% copper equivalent. Duck Pond was just to the north of us. That was in production by Teck Resources. It just shut down a few years ago, and that was a 4.1 million ton deposit at 3.3 copper. So there is room for big deposits in Newfoundland, which previously kind of had its limitations. And I should point out that the Marathon Gold Deposit, which is now called Caliper Mining or Valentine Lake Gold Deposit, yesterday they announced a merger with Equinox Gold to form a large mid-tier gold company. So that deposit, my estimates will be 6 to 8 million ounces by the time they're done or more. Currently at about a 5 million ounce resource. We started when we picked this project up from Spruce Ridge Resources. I should point out that we've earned our 70% interest, and Spruce Ridge is participating at a 30% interest as we move along from here forward. So Benton was required to spend $2.5 million over 3 years, and we did that in 11 months. So we've got our 70% interest now, and we will continue with aggressive exploration moving forward. We have about 14 kilometers of mineralized zones on the property in which we've been drilling, and then we have about another 12 kilometers where we have very virgin unexplored ground that we will do more exploration on this summer. Including soil sampling, prospecting, some airborne surveys, et cetera, et cetera. But the potential to find more ore zones is highly possible. We have a current resource of about 1.2 million tons at the Great Burnt Deposit and around 410,000 tons up at the South Pine Gold Deposit at the very north end of the property. And since we've acquired this, we've done tremendous amount of drilling in both zones. Interestingly enough, some of our best results in this drilling campaign have came from drill holes that were drilled since 2016 to 2024, and now into 2025. And we believe the reason for this is the old historical drilling that was completed by Circle Mines and then eventually Noranda Mines were done with AQEX or BQEX core, which are very tiny core. They had very poor control over where the drill holes went for azimuth wise, and they had very poor core recoveries. Hence, a lot of our drilling that we've done in areas, including this current campaign, where a circle had kind of lower grade but decent widths of copper and or gold, we get far better recoveries and far better grades, etc. So we believe a lot of this resource that was historically compiled has to be re-drilled, which we've been slowly doing. So we got an excellent number of untested conductors over the entire length of the property where the airborne has been flown. So there's multiple other targets that has to be drilled, and along with other soil geochem anomalies, associated with good geology and trenched areas where we've got mineralization and new float boulders of good copper gold mineralization. So this project is tremendously underexplored, and the potential to host world-class discovery is very evident to us. The style of mineralization is what they call a Beshi type VMS. This is the only Beshi type on Newfoundland Island that we know of. Most other are felsic related and or Cypress related VMS deposits around the island. Some of the Beshi types in Canada host up to 34 million tons. So these can be quite large. And we believe that our project certainly can host this sizable high grade type deposit. We do have a joint research program with Memorial University in Newfoundland where they are doing geochemical and stratigraphic work and et cetera for us. So this has been very helpful to us as we move the project forward. Outside of that, we've hired a guy by the name of Mike Cooley, who is a world-renowned structural geologist. This project also has not had a lot of structural work completed before. So we basically done a lot of trenching to open up exposures of the bedrock to understand what folding is happening, what structural complexities were happening, what metamorphic grades we're dealing with. So that's all starting to come together. We've relogged a bunch of core. We, like I say, done a lot of remapping of the groundwork. And essentially what we see is the deposit forms. The top picture shows a really simple cartoon of the VMS deposit being formed. And then you start getting the initial stage of east-west compression, and then tight folding starting to happen, and then some erosional measures. And what you end up with is a kind of a compressed folded ball or pipe-shaped deposit that plunges for a considerable amount of distance. We don't know how far that distance could be at this point because we haven't got enough drill holes into it, but we know now it's at least 950 meters long in the main deposit. And up at the South Pond deposit, we have 3 kilometers of mineralization. We don't know if that's a series of deposits or if it's actually or if it's one long lens. We think it's a series of deposits that we just have to chase. So only drilling in time will tell as we drill these things off. But we certainly have started to understand how to target this, and it's working very well for us. I should also point out that the ore zones are highly magnetic because the copper and gold are also associated with heavy pyrrhotite, which is a very magnetic mineral. So we use ground magnetics and starting to do in-hole magnetics and also electric magnetics to chase the zones. So the geophysical techniques we're working on is helping us as well to delineate these new discoveries. Here's just some of the magnetics. The pink underneath is magnetic highs. The dashed orange line are 2 known zones. The west horizon is the Great Burnt deposit, where we have spectacular intercepts of copper over big widths. And then we have what we call the North Stringer zone, or now indicating that we believe it's a footwall zone to the North Stringer zone. And the reason why we think it may be 2 different events is the eastern North Stringer zone or footwall zone has associated gold with it, quite a bit of gold in some cases. And it could link that system actually, or structure could link up with the gold zone 7 kilometers to the north, called the South Pond Horizon. So there's a lot of work to be done. There's potential here for tens of kilometers of mineralization. Just has, we just have to do the drilling. Previous drilling by Spruce Ridge at Great Burnt, this is what indicated us that previous drilling by ASARCO back in the 60s were completely not truly understood or were underestimated. So Spruce Ridge in 2016 to 2020 drilled a series of holes that graded 7.5 meters of 16%, 12 meters of 10, over a short strike length in the main deposit. And these were areas where ASARCO had weaker numbers, substantial weaker numbers. So when we purchased this property from Spruce Ridge, we basically just continued on what they were doing exactly. And you can see the type of numbers from below from 2023, 2024, and this will move into 2025 in our new results coming. 13 meters of 8, 26 of 7, 25 of 5. These are world-class intercepts. I don't think I've seen a company this year put results out that even compare to this, other than Power Nickel, which I think your group will be hosting today. Terry Lynch will be speaking about Power Nickel. But I mean, these grades are as good or better than even what Power Nickel has put out to date. So it's just a comparison, and we've got a tiny market cap compared to Power Nickel. And of course, a few months ago, Power Nickel had the exact same market cap as what Benton had, and finally woken up the market to what they have. So I believe our time is coming in the very near future. This is a longitudinal showing the grades. So the circles are the 1960 holes. We've drilled a lot of areas now where these circles are upgraded to purple, which is greater percentages over greater widths. You can see the purple stars are super high grade and the purple squares are super high grade from Spruce Ridge Resources. So the squares are Spruce Resources from 2016 to 2020. Circles are Circle from the late 60s, early 70s, and the stars are Benton Drilling. As you can see, we've drilled a lot of holes down plunge now, and we're still hitting the ore zone. We've got a couple more holes put down there now, another 100 meters out down here. And then we've got some drilling in here that's filling in some big gaps. And I think we've already posted some massive sulfide pictures on the website and also press released them last week, I believe so. So we expect we will have more beautiful results in the near future. Moving to the north, so this map here is the very north part of our property, which is about 7.5 kilometers to the north. This is what we call the South Pond Zone. We've got mineralization chased for over 3 kilometers. We've drilled 33 new drill holes in areas where a circle, drilled back in the 60s and 70s. Also, Noranda drilled some holes up here. Again, I don't think they quite understood the nature of the deposit with this compressed folding, plunging and refolding. Once Benton figured this out, we've been very successful at hitting the horizon and chasing the ore zones. So we believe that will continue as we unravel the mystery of the geology. And we will be able to put ounces and pounds to the ground, I believe, over the next 12 to 24 months as we continue the drilling. As you can see, there's a lot of room. There's conductors in here. This big purple unit that you see to the west is a ultramafic complex with you can see there's conductors in here, so there's potential for magmatic copper nickel disulfides, and there's also potential for a wearite, which just to the east of us by 5 kilometers is a company that's working in the exact same rock unit as this ultramafic complex called First Atlantic Nickel, and their stock has moved substantially in the last few weeks in drilling in a wearite mineral, which is a nickel iron alloy that don't need refining. So we have also potential for nickel in here. You can see the pictures to the left-hand side. You can see the green malachite staining of the copper. This stuff grades up to 5.5% copper with 5 grams gold. So very significant gold with the copper up there. And of course, as we move southward, we have very wide intercepts of gold with highly anomalous copper as well. As I mentioned, the magnetics work extremely well. The ground magnetics, we've done 5-meter stations, 50-meter lines over the unit that carries the gold. You can see the pink orange color that delineates the zone very well. So we simply just drilled the mag highs, and that's where we start hitting the gold mineralization with the associated copper. So this is a very, very exciting play. It's wide open to the south and to the north for another kilometer. In fact, we have surface sampling to the north that indicates the gold zone is still going. And also to the south, we have gold showings all along the trend for another 7 kilometers, all the way back to the Great Burt deposit. Outside of that, of course, there's been very little work done for the last 10 kilometers to the south. So unbelievable amount of room to build multiple deposits. These are some of the drill holes, and the core is to the right that you see. This is semi-massive pyrrhotite. You can see the chalcopyrite, which is the copper mineralization within the units as well. 51 meters of 1.69 grams, 15 meters of 21 meters. In comparison, the Valentine Lake deposit slash Marathon deposit owned by Caliper Mining and now, of course, being merged with Equinox. These are the type of grades that they are putting in production and will be producing gold from in the next few months. So we're pretty excited that we have probably one of the best gold assets in Newfoundland, along with one of the best copper assets. So, I mean, again, I can't reiterate um, how good a deal Benton is at 15 cents a share, or sorry, at 9 cents a share, with a $15 million market cap. It's actually crazy. I've never had a project of this caliber within Benton, or certainly if we did, we've sold it and made a lot of money and paid our shareholders. So now would be the time to really look at Benton and this asset. These are some sections. We have parallel zones on the gold horizon. We are 3D currently putting this into a 3D model. We just need some more drilling in it, really, but we're getting ready to launch a 3D model of what the zone is starting to look like at like a half-gram cutoff, open pittable. You can see all the zones are less than 100 meters deep. So they come right to surface. We believe this is all just refolding of the same horizon. So, very, very wide intercepts of decent grade gold at better than a gram. Again, another section less than 50 meters deep, so certainly pittable material. You'll be a very low strip ratio in the case of mining. So, we see the potential here is tremendous. Before I leave, I want to talk a little bit about the nickel. This is the big mag unit that I was talking about. You can see this pink unit in here. This is the ultramafic complex. We did complete a bunch of soil lines on the southern part of that complex, which is down here. You can see up to 1,700 ppm nickel in soils. So 1,700 ppm translates to like 1.5 pounds of nickel. That's actually pretty significant to have 1.5 pounds of nickel in your soil. So it indicates to us that the rock unit below is highly, highly elevated and pregnant in nickel, olivine mineral, and or sulfides. So we are going to drill a few holes in that. We're just unsure when that's going to happen. Our priority is delineating our gold zone and our copper zone at current time. And this is a project that we literally just picked up. It's called the Dominion Project. It's a VMS gold system just to the northwest of Benton's Great Burt Project, and it's actually 20 kilometers, kind of a line strike from the Caliper Mining Valentine mine that's currently going to production. We picked this project up because the ground came open for staking, and it was a large package of ground, so we staked it. And then we optioned a little bit of ground from a couple local prospectors to make the land whole. And our first day of prospecting, we discovered a new gold zone. We call it the Rickard zone. It's a spectacular quartz stockwork outcrop that grades up to 4.5 grams. There's about 3 kilometers away or 4 kilometers away. There's another cluster of historical samples that graded up to 3.5 grams gold, never been drilled. So we're pretty excited about this new property acquisition. It sits near 2 large VMS deposits or decent sized VMS deposits that strike more or less onto our ground. So we got VMS potential here as well. And this is kind of the mineralization that you see. This is our prospector Ricky Crocker that discovered the ground, discovered the showing. We stripped it off now over 12 meters wide. Quite spectacular mineralization of quartz and sulfides. We expect that we'll probably have this ready for drilling by midsummer of 2025. So in summary, we got deep geophysics currently underway at the Great Burnt deposit, getting ready to restart the drill, which we just shut down only a couple days ago. So we'll have a flurry of drill results coming. We've already released that we've hit massive sulfides in our last press release. We should have an update press release out before the PDAC, just to kind of keep shareholders aware of what we're doing and what we're hitting. And like I say, we're doing lots of ground geophysics and deep geophysics. So we'll be ready to start that drill program again in mid to end of March. And we're planning at least 15,000 meters in 2025, maybe 20 or 25,000 meters if the financings come together for us. We've had spectacular drill results to date. And outside of that, we just paid our shareholders on March or February 20th was our deadline date, in which you will receive a Vinland lithium share. We have a lithium discovery in the Western Newfoundland that was found by Benton Resources and Sokoman Minerals. That whole project is being financed by Piedmont Lithium, which is America's only lithium producer in hard rock spodumene. So they believe this project is early stage. We have 61 drill holes into it, but they believe it's got huge potential for a new lithium resource. And hence, that's why this is one of Piedmont's only early stage partnerships. So we'll only have 10 million shares issued and outstanding, and only 4 million tradable shares on the TSX Venture. So it will be a very tight company. Our shareholders will receive a portion of that, and there'll be a $12 million expiration budget on it. So outside of that, Benton holds 24.6 million shares of Clean Air Metals, which has a 2.5 million ounce platinum, palladium, copper, nickel equivalent deposit in Northern Ontario, and we own a 0.5% royalty on that deposit. And they're currently drilling as well, putting out spectacular platinum, palladium results. So I encourage you to look at Clean Air Metals. It's a tremendous project, and they're very, very undervalued. So with that, we got 205 million shares out. We're well positioned to advance the project, and I thank you for your time.
Well done, well done. Thank you so much. We just have time for maybe two quick questions. One of the first ones that's come up is, how does Benton intend to capitalize on the recent high-grade gold assays from the South Pond Gold Copper Zone to enhance the shareholder value?
Yes, thank Lindsay. As everybody knows, it's been a very tough market, tough struggles for juniors in the last year and a half, 2 years. One of our biggest shareholders, Eric Sprott, who I admire and believe his enthusiasm for the industry, and you can certainly see that he's been disappointed in the last few years, in the way the market is. But I spoke with Eric a couple of weeks ago, and you can certainly feel the energy in his voice now, and he believes the market is about to turn. And he basically told me to hang tight and keep drilling, and we'll get there. So that's how the value is unlocked: is you stay with it, and you just keep drilling, and eventually, as the old saying is, if you build it, they will come. So that's the plan.
Such a great saying and such a great movie. Thank you so much again for your time. We look forward to hearing more things coming down the funnel for you.
Yeah, lots of results to come, and I believe they will be good.
They will be. We know it. All right. Thank you for joining us, and have a great day.
Thank you, guys. All the best.